live edition of the Hypeman podcast. I'm your host, Leroy or Leroy. Either way, it's your boy. And I'm here and I'm live May 8th, 2020. Live edition of the Hypeman podcast. And tonight we are going to be discussing the Great Bulls documentary that is out right now on ESPN called The Last Dance. Man, as soon as I heard they was gonna, do this, I was getting hyped. Love the Bulls, love that 90s team, love them to death. To me, man, during that time, pandemonium, baby. During that time, man, the Bulls are it. Nobody could touch them, but man, they had quite the journey, didn't they? They had quite the journey to get there. We're going to talk about episodes 1 through 6. The flashbacks from Mike. No, let me start off with some of the people who are complaining how they don't like how it jumps throughout the timeline of the show. And I get that. I'm with you. But if you watched enough Quentin Tarantino movies, when they time jump like that, that doesn't bother me one bit, man. Doesn't bother me one bit. If you watch enough Quentin Tarantino movies, you're good. You're good. You got nothing. You should be able to follow it. And it's easy to follow too. It's definitely easy to follow. But I totally understand when some people are just like, man, why don't you just go down the timeline? It would make more sense. But I see how they wanted to, make it a little different, maybe a little bit more intriguing that way. Maybe if they did all that time jumping. So. But yeah, man, we're gonna start out, man, at the flashbacks of Michael Jordan in college in North Carolina, when a lot of Carolina coaches, Dean Smith was the coach of North Carolina during the first episode, and he was talking about Michael Jordan, this young kid. Things like that. Another thing I'm going to mention too. I can't believe I totally forgot Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team his sophomore year. So that was the motivation he needed right there, man. Like nobody knew what Michael was going to be, man. But man, kudos to him and his character, man. The dude he's just a fighter, man. You tell Michael he can't do something, he gonna prove you wrong, man. Just like his father said in documentary, his brother said it, and he learned to that toughness from beating his older brother. His older brother used to beat him all the time until he actually got the size on him to beat him. But it was his older brothers that taught him that toughness, man. That toughness carried him all the way through his professional career, man. So that was amazing to see. But I remember James Worthy was talking about how he was the best player on the team at the time when Michael showed up, and then he just knew with Mike's athleticism and everything else, he just knew, it's just a matter of time before this man, takes my spot. So I'm hoping everybody can hear me. Whoever's popped on. Oh, Brad, hey, Brad, can you hear me? Let me make sure you can hear me. Okay. Just want to make sure everybody can hear me okay. I believe so, because otherwise you'd have been like, I can't hear you. So I'm pretty sure you could probably hear me, Brad. But great that you on, man. We're talking about the Last Dance documentary, episodes 1 through 6, man. Sweet. Thank you. So yeah, how James Worthy was saying it was just a matter of time before Mike became the best player on the Tar Heels team that year. And man, Michael was making game winners back in college. I wasn't, man, when Michael was in college, I don't even think I wasn't born yet. So seeing all that footage before I was even born, that was cool to see. I've seen some of it before. We all have, in commercials and snippets and things like that. But even when he stepped on the scene in North Carolina, it was like the whole landscape of the college game changed. It's like this dude is just taking over. His athleticism is unmatched, and at that time they had great college stars, at that time anyway. But when Michael came on the scene, man, during college, it was like something else. But yeah, that North Carolina blue. I was trying to think. Michael did come out with a pair of Jordans with the North Carolina blue. Then he probably did it once or twice. Ooh, I'm gonna have to Google those shoes, man. Those shoes are probably sweet. But let me stay back on topic. Oh, and by the way, anybody who knows me, like my boy Brad, he's been to those Bull games back in those 90s with me and my dad. So that series just brings all that emotion back that you felt, when you were there live and everything. And people, like, man, those are the good old days in Chicago. And it's like, yeah, you're right, man. Because when they did this whole documentary and they showing clips and everything, and interviewing people, it's like all that emotion just just came back, and just that excitement came back to me. It was like, man, I didn't realize how much I missed this team until they came out with this documentary, which other millions of Bull fans and Michael Jordan fans can agree with me as well with that. But then the preseason trip to no, let me go before the trip to Paris. But when they drafted Michael Jordan, they were talking about how the Bulls are just awful and everything like that, and barely had, I don't know, what was it, 5,000 people in attendance and all that stuff. And, and then when Michael came on the scene, that just brought an energy to the city of Chicago, which is great. Yep. Thank you, Brad. Yep. But yeah, how Chicago wasn't good. And then when the Bulls drafted Michael Jordan, and also, too, I want to say thank you, man, to the Portland Trailblazers for drafting Sam Bowie for the first overall pick. From what I was reading, everybody said Akeem was going number 2 regardless. But thank you for drafting Sam Bowie and not Michael Jordan, since you guys had Clyde Drexler already on the team. So, but, man, imagine Clyde and Michael. But thank you, because we were able to grab Michael at number 3, and that changed the Bulls franchise forever. So, but yeah, in fact, when Michael came on the scene, he got drafted. The Bulls stunk. And at this time, man, I was young, 4 or 5 at the time. Yeah, he's about 4. Didn't remember until much later, when I was like 6 or 7, until I started realizing who these guys were and all that stuff. But yeah, the Bulls weren't good. I remember names like Dave, when they say Dave Corzine, I was like, oh, he was the Bulls center. I remember Dave Corzine. My dad and I, we were downtown. The Bulls were having some convention, and we saw Dave Corzine run out from either a limo or a taxi. It was pouring down, raining too, and he had the old white boy fro on at the time. That's my fondest memory of Dave Corzine. But I was like, they go Dave Corzine. Clearly a tall white boy with that type of hair and, clearly 7 foot. It's like, oh yeah, that's Dave. And I was young, man. I was probably about 4, so I didn't really know what was going on. But at the time, the Bulls tickets were cheap back then, man. They were cheap back then, especially to today's standards, until Michael came on the scene and the man was just through the roof. But yeah, to see early Jordan and all that stuff, and just like, God, to see this dude play and how he just took over the games, I'm like, I miss him. I miss him. It's been so long. When you're watching the Bulls play, watching Michael Jordan, you're like, geez, I'm like, did we take all this for granted? Because these boys are great. These boys are great, man. I'm sitting there watching, and I'm sitting there with tears in my eyes, going, at least I was there. At least I was there for a lot of those games. But yeah, it's just a mystique, man, about Michael Jordan and Chicago Bulls, man, especially in the mid-90s. But let me stay on track, man. Still talking about episode 1 when the Bulls went to Paris for a preseason game, and the city of Paris treated them like the Beatles, man. Treated them like the Beatles. It was, hey, man, hey. Like they said, you'd have thought the Pope showed up. It was Mike and the crew, baby. I mean, worldwide, man. Everybody knew this man's name, man. Everybody wanted to see him. They didn't care how late they had to stay up. Hey, if I was over there in Paris, I'd be right there too. If I had a chance to see Michael and the Chicago Bulls at that time, yep, I would have not went to bed either. So I'd have been like, forget it, I'd have been drinking coffee all day. But yeah, man. And another thing too, the first 2 seasons, man, definitely showed me, man. And we all knew this, man. Jerry Krause, Jerry Reinsdorf, man, seeing on social media. They're saying one of my boys called Jerry Krause a Pixar villain. and I'm not here to make fun of anybody, but when I heard that, dude, I just started laughing. And I get it, man. That Bulls management ruined a dynasty that could have won 2 more championships. In my mind, they won 6, but in my mind, if they didn't dismantle that team, they would have won 8. And if Michael would have never retired, Houston would have never won they 2. So technically, Bulls would have had 8 to 10 championships, would have dominated that whole 10-year span. And whew, that's unheard of, man. In my mind, that's they were so dominant, and they knew how to put in new pieces that fit the mold, man. So in my mind, 8 to 10 championships. I remember Dennis Rodman saying that, the Bulls would have won 4 in a row if they would have kept it going. Yeah, I believe him. I believe him. Absolutely. Because all that team needed was that motivation, especially Michael Jordan. Oh my God. This dude would he'd find any little thing to motivate himself. Yep, that was when basketball was amazing, Deesa. I love this documentary. You're right, man. You're right, Deesa. You're right, Deesa, because like I said, I'm watching this documentary and I'm just all those feelings of just excitement, and like I'm literally got tears in my eyes crying because I was like, God, I miss this. I miss this so much. I miss this team. So I miss that feeling, man. I miss that feeling. You just don't get it in this NBA nowadays. And I get it. Everybody's got the era, and I'm sure the young kids probably feel that way about LeBron, but we all know who the man is. Period. We all know who the man is, and in my mind, that I mean, he can put up any Bulls 90 team up against any of the great ones, man. I'm still picking them, regardless. Especially that one with Dennis Rodman when they went 72-10 and won the chip. Whoo, man. Oh boy, but I'm going too far in advance, but let me stay back on track. I can talk all night about these boys. But but again, with the Bulls management at the time, man, when they were giving you those scenes with Jerry Krause and Michael talk bad about Jerry, and Jerry would talk bad about him, saying organizations win championships, not players. I was like, are you trying to get yourself some credit, man? Get out of here with that, man. Organizations win championships, not players. Even though Jerry came back and said that was taken out of context, but we all knew what he truly meant. And then Jerry Reinsdorf, man, oh boy, yeah. I'm not gonna get into the Jerry's, man, because I can. Yeah, nope. It's the Hypeman podcast. We ain't about to go down that rabbit hole. Not at all, but yeah, man, the Bulls are treated like rock stars all around the world, and it was just great to see. It was fantastic to see. What was it? Oh, when Michael played. Oh man, one of my favorite clips, and they showed it too. When Michael was in his second year, when he went up against the Boston Celtics, when Larry Bird said that was the best team he ever been on. But he knew there was something about this Michael Jordan kid that was that was unlike anything unlike anything that he's ever seen. And he said when Mike dropped 63 in the Boston Garden, and Mike did that shake on him between the legs. That's one of my favorite clips of Mike, besides the shot, and of course the shot to beat the Jazz to get the final championship. But that that in between the legs move, and when Larry Bird said that was God disguised as Michael Jordan, I was like, man. And I've heard that quote before, but for somebody like Larry Bird, who is a legend in the game, to give a young Michael Jordan that amount of props, to say that was God disguised as Michael Jordan. What other athlete have you heard on that level at the same time give somebody that big of a praise? I was like, dang, man. You ain't never heard that since. He was giving it to him. Mike was giving it to him, man. Even though the Bulls lost. They were like, he's coming. He's coming. Yeah, I'm sure Larry was telling Magic, hey, we saved the league, but this dude about to take the league to the whole new heights, and he did, man. He did that. I want to be like Mike. Gatorade commercial, boy. You, man, when they talking about kids to save up and get Jordans and all that's paying $140, $150, $200 on shoes. No way in the world. I ain't have any Jordans. My cousins did. Not me, man. I'm like, no, I can't do it, baby. I can't do it. I could not give a pair of Jordans. Can't do it. But for my cousins that had them, and then after a while, once they were done with them, I think one of my cousins gave me one pair. And I was happy, man. I was happy. They were size 10 at the time. I was so mad because now I'm an 11 and a half. They don't fit no more. But I cram my toes in there though. Oh, to wear some Jordans, but man, and then and then for what was it, episode 2 with Scottie Pippen and his rise, man, to be not only an all-star but one of the greatest players ever to play the game, especially at the wing. Scottie Pippen revolutionized the point forward. He was actually, like they said, he was the original point forward that started that whole position period, man. Nobody at Scottie Pippen's size and length, could play point guard. So kudos to Scottie. It was great to see where Scottie came from. I didn't realize the upbringing that he had, and from the standpoint of Bulls not paying him what he was worth, but then he signed that $17 million contract at the time. But then when Scottie said, hey, we need to take care of his family. Scottie came from a large family, so, and then with his dad and I believe his brother too as well, they weren't doing well. So at the time, I'm like, oh man, Scottie, they played you. But at the time, I'm like, Scottie had to do what he had to do at the time. So I'm glad he said that when he said that. But I get it. I get it from both sides. Where people are saying, when you're in that situation that Scottie's in, and you don't want to jeopardize your career. If you get injured, then you're not gonna get that money and all that stuff. But I'm glad in the end, Scottie, did get paid at the end. But that was nuts, man. Because I'm looking at it both sides. I'm like, dang, Scottie, man, you should have, you should have, went ahead and at least demanded some more money. But I totally understand where he was coming from, why he signed the deal that he did. But man, but first, I apologize, guys. My dogs are barking. But for Scottie to become the player that he was, man, and see him grow because of Michael Jordan put him under his wing, man, he turned out to be a great player. Of course, against the Detroit Pistons, man, that episode, that was actually episode, what was that? That was 4, actually. So I'm jumping, but your boy ain't gonna be able to go through 1 through 6 all in order. Y'all feel me. But when the Bulls were playing oh man, let me hold on. Let me go back up. I forgot about the shot against Cleveland. Cleveland Cavaliers were that's the shot, baby. Put Mike on the map, baby. What was it? Ron Harper, who was on the Cavs at the time, told the coach, put me on Jordan, and he said no, and I can't believe it. Ron Harper said something that made me laugh. He said that was some dumb stuff to do or something like that. I'm trying not to curse with him, but I know what he said. I'm just trying to be PC about it. But when Ron Harper gave that look like, yeah, okay, Okay, you're gonna put Craig Elo on me. Mike knew Craig Elo on me, man, please. Oh man, and Mike make that shot, boy, pumped his fist in the air, saying, "Yep, this league is mine now. It's mine. It's my time. It's my time." And he was right. He was right, man. That man came in and just took the league by storm. And I'm so glad he was a Chicago Bull because we all loved the Bulls for a long time, boy. All the way up until this man, hung them up. But man, it was absolutely fantastic. But all right, now we can talk about them Pistons. Those bad boy Pistons, man. Oh, I remember as a kid when the Pistons won their second title, become back-to-back. I believe that was against Portland. And I vaguely remember me asking my dad who's rooting for. He said Portland. I was like, okay, I'm going to root for Portland too. And then at this time, my butt should have been in bed, so I didn't stay up late. But those are that's when I remember looking at the TV and seeing Portland and Detroit play. And then me asking my dad who he had, he said Portland. So then I was tired. I went off the bed, and then next day or next 2 days, I asked my dad, and I was like 4 or 5 or something like that, maybe 6. I can't remember exactly, but I remember my dad asking, who won? Because I remember Portland being up. So I was like, oh, Portland probably won the championship. Dad's like, nah, those Pistons won. I was like, oh man, that stinks. And then of course it come the time when the Bulls on the come up, and they were going up against Detroit, against Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumas. I didn't mind Joe Dumas, man, because to this day, I believe Michael admits that Joe Dumas was his toughest defender. So I think Joe Dumas was the only one at that time he had respect for. But Isaiah Thomas, we all got our feelings about him. Bill Laimbeer, same. Dennis Rodman at the time. Oh, Vinnie Johnson, John Sally, James Edwards, all them boys, man. That's what created the Jordan rules, man. Don't let them take off in the lane. Don't let them dunk on you. They beat the crap out of Mike and the Bulls, man. They beat the snot out of them, man. I was like, man, they flat out just throw them to the ground, clotheslines. I'm like, these NBA players today, man, please. Could y'all imagine? Oh man, could y'all imagine these NBA players today go against the bad boy Pistons? It'd be fights all day long, but the Pistons would be the one standing, wouldn't it? I wish Steph Curry would have to shoot from the half court in order to get the shot off against the Detroit Pistons, man. But oh man, those boys are some bullies. I couldn't stand them. I'm sure they were Pistons fans at that time saying this. I felt the same way about us, but man, they played it was like a street fight. It wasn't even basketball. They were just street fighting folks. And man, the anger that came back, when those early Bulls were going against Detroit, and they lost, what was it, 2 years in a row to Detroit, and it was like, man, especially that second time when they thought they had him, and then Scottie Pippen had that migraine, and Scottie said that he couldn't see, because I remember that. It's like, what, what's wrong with Scottie? Especially when they showed the clip when he missed that easy layup, it's like, yeah, something definitely off about that. But then, Pistons elbowing folks in the ribs, and Horace Grant going down and getting upset, and Bulls ready to fight and just losing their composure and all that stuff. And then once that was over, that second year, that's when Mike got back in the gym. What was his trainer's name? Chip somebody. Can't remember Chip's last name. I think his name was Chip. But then Mike got in the gym. He said he got sick and tired of getting beat up, man. And I was like, yeah, Mike, hit them weights, baby. Hit them weights. Put on what? 15 pounds of muscle. And then The rest of the Bulls was like, yeah, we gonna follow our leader's example. We're gonna be in the gym too. That's when Scottie knew what hard work and dedication was, and then Scottie started hitting the gym. Everybody else started hitting the gym. Um, um, I love the fact too that they said after they lost to Detroit, nobody went on vacation. Nobody went on vacation. They went right into the gym. I said, damn, that is some dedication. that is when you so pissed off and so motivated to beat a team. I'm like, that's what it's all about, man. That's what it's all about. When you get your butt kicked physically so bad to we like, you know what? We tired of this BS and we gonna get in the gym. We gonna work on our game. When all the players said nobody went on vacation, they all were in the gym. I was like, oh, these boys on a mission. Oh, they on a mission. Oh, and then at that time, could you imagine the access we could have had if we had today's technology back then? We would have been able to know all that stuff. Yeah. that was Horace Grant, right, Jay? That was Horace Grant that said that. I died laughing when Horace said that, man. Hey, man, they said viewer discretion, boy. There were curse words all over that bad boy, wasn't it? And I loved it, dude, because it was just raw emotion. And I'm sitting there right there with him, right there with Horace, like, you right. You right, Horace. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. But yeah, no, the Bulls came back hungry, and it showed that whole entire season. They were kicking everybody's butt. That was that 90-91 team. Just kicked everybody's behind. And then met up with Detroit again. And Detroit tried that same old antics, man. Tried to get physical with them, man. The Bulls didn't phase them one bit. Horace Grant was getting upset when who was it? Dennis Rodman did that hard foul on Scottie, and Scottie was down. He just looked, took a deep breath, and got up. Oh, they knew it was over. I think it was Dennis Rodman that said that one of the Pistons players admitted that, like, once they realized they couldn't get them get into the Bulls' psyche, series was over, and they beat the brakes off the Bulls. Oh, I remember that too, man. When the Pistons walked off, didn't shake the Bulls' hand, but the Bulls, every single time they lost to anybody, they shook their hands, man. Great sportsmanship. But Detroit, man, like a bunch of, like Horace Grant said, man. Like Horace Grant said, man. When you get and the Bulls kick they behind, and I loved every minute of it, man. Walked off like some chumps, man. And then when they faced Magic Johnson, Magic versus Michael against the Lakers, boy, I was like, oh man, this is marquee, like they said in the documentary, marquee matchup. And it was great, man. I didn't realize, man, the old Chicago Stadium, man. Man, that was a home court advantage, man, because that bad boy didn't have it was, what was it, 18,000, something like that. But it was all concealed, so all the noise, man, it wasn't like going up and around, man. It was just right in your, That's the one thing I miss about the old Chicago Stadium. But left early, just like yep. But yeah, there was Magic versus Michael, and the Lakers took the first game because Michael missed that the last shot, and the Bulls played horrible. They played horrible that first game. They admitted it. Michael admitted it that they played bad, even though they still had a chance to win. And then once they switched off and put Scottie on Magic, I think that's when everybody recognized, oh, Scottie's a bad boy. Oh, Scottie's a bad boy, picking up that dude. What they say, 92 feet, the full length of the court. It's like, yeah, Scottie was the first one to do that, wasn't he? Especially in that way, and he was so long too. And they just messed the whole Lakers game plan through that whole entire series. Bulls won that 4-1. Yep, because after that, after they won game two, they just kept steamrolling. They just kept steamrolling on boards, and then Michael won his first chip, and then, like he said, he always wanted to meet. He always wanted to be mentioned with Magic and Larry Bird. So he said, in order to do that, he had to win a chip, and he finally won a chip. And then next thing we know, Bulls knocked off, another one back to back against Clyde Drexler, and then I remember Michael saying he took offense. See, that's the one thing I love. I was like, Michael was a beast, man. He was a beast. He made any little thing for motivation. Like they said, Clyde Drexler, like they were comparing Michael and Clyde Drexler, and that's all Mike needed. He said, I'm gonna take him and I'm gonna take him out. And I'm just like, media, y'all just need to be quiet, man. Clyde didn't say nothing. The media did it, man. It ain't Clyde's fault. Oh man, that reminds me too. If you guys seen on social media the interviews with J.R. Ryder and Kevin Garnett when they were on Minnesota, and Kevin Garnett was a rookie and he was talking trash to Mike, and J.R. was telling him, "Don't do that. Don't do that, man. Don't do that." And they ended up getting their butts kicked. And KG, I'm just making a long story short, and KG was telling J.R. Smith, I'm sorry, dog. I'm sorry. And J.R. Smith or J.R. Ryder kept telling Mike, he's a rookie. He don't know what he's doing, man. He don't know what he's doing. That's the one dude at the time that you don't talk smack to at all, man. Even Magic and Michael don't do it. Even dudes that were that were legends in the game that time knew to keep their mouth shut, man. That's the one dude you don't motivate. Michael find motivation in anything, man. Anything. And then come back, he would tell people the night before, you know what I'm gonna do to him tomorrow night, right? And then he would do it. It's like, God, wait, but I loved it. I loved every minute of it. Michael was an assassin. He'll rip your heart out. Rip your heart out. You can't say that about players today. Only one that was close to that was the great Kobe Bryant. God rest his soul, man. He was the only one that was closest to that mentality like Mike. But man, and the Bulls had an era, a mystique about them, man. They had an absolute mystique. One thing I found out from all this was that, yep, you're right. Don't make Mike mad, man. They were, even though when they were interviewing the celebrities and former basketball players, just former athletes, period. Even when they couldn't stand the Bulls, but they knew that's the one man you don't make mad. Even New York Knicks fans, and I knew that's the one man you do not make mad. Don't do it. I can remember one of the WNBA players. She said she was a huge New York Knicks fan, but she knew, even when the Knicks are up 2-0, 2-0 in that Eastern Conference Final series, she knew. She was like, me up 2-0, but something's telling me something's gonna go wrong. And it did. It surely did, man. Every legend in the game, every player in the game, they feared that man. Trembling, man. I don't blame him. I'd be scared too. Sure, I'd be scared, man. Absolutely. That's the one dude you don't talk trash to at all, man. Today's players, you can talk trash about all of them. They don't care. They don't take offense to none of that stuff. They don't get motivated like that, like Mike and those other legends back in the like I said, man, the good old days did, man. It's something about that style of character that just doesn't exist anymore. And after watching this documentary, man, I miss it. I miss it, man. Absolutely. But I forgot what I was at. Oh yeah, for the Bulls three-peat, John Paxson, when John Paxson admitted that the play that wasn't set up to go to him, but like he said, you were playing in the league, you always gotta be ready. I remember watching that shot on TV, boy. Part was pumping, scared to death. When Paxson made that shot, Bulls won that series 4-2. Oh man, I was man, but just the names that the Bulls beat, man. Like Mike said, he was pissed off when Charles Barkley won the MVP and he didn't. That was enough motivation for him to go out there and beat the Phoenix Suns in the finals. I'm like, God, woo. And I agree, man. Mike should have won the MVP every year he played. But because Mike won 5 MVP, 6 MVP, something like that. But the man should have won more. But I get it, man. When jealousy and envy kick in, it happens. It happens. But we all knew. We all knew. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. It was 4 and 5. Man, I probably mixed in a whole bunch. Oh, yes, the Dream Team, the greatest basketball team ever assembled, man. So glad Isaiah Thomas was not on that team and John Stockton was. No disrespect to Isaiah's game, but like Mike said in the documentary, with the history he had with Mike, with the history he had with Bird, with the history he had with Magic, and the scuffling and the hatred that they had, that would have ruined that whole team's chemistry. So, like Mike said in the documentary, that was a great move to put a high character guy like John Stockton on that team, man. But yeah, man, to me that was the greatest team ever assembled. Man, I'm like, God, look at these dudes, man. Man, I might play 2K. Who take NBA 2K20 now and put the Dream Team against anybody and just beat the brakes off of them in the video game. I might just do that, man. I might just do it. But the Dream Team, man, again, man, rock stars, man. Of course, you know, the leader, Michael Jordan, man. Like they said in the documentary, they had what they said, probably the greatest practice that all them players ever had was when they were all barking and jawing at each other and all that stuff. And Magic saying, this ain't Chicago, blah blah blah. Magic getting pissed off, and then Mike snapped off, and they ended up beating them by what was it, 8 or something like that. And still to that day, like even Michael and Larry, not Michael, Magic and Larry knew that it's Michael's turn now. and I thank Magic and Larry for bringing the NBA back to as was, saving that league, because at that time, in the 70s and early 80s, the NBA was just a mess. But thanks to those two legends, and then thanks from Mike for making the league that it is now today, man. So. But yeah, but that was great though, and then you could just see the camaraderie on the Dream Team, man. When Mike said what he said, it made total sense, especially when you watching you're watching the clips and all that stuff, man. You're like, yeah, man, these boys jailed, man. They played hard, they practiced hard. The one that had the one segment that had me rolling was when Jerry Krause was so crazy about Tony Kukoc, man. And at that time, I didn't know who Tony Kukoc was, and I remember too. Back in the day, they would only snow like snippets of the Dream Team, not like how they do now. Man, like I said, I wish if we had today's technology back then and to be able to watch all of the Dream Team's games. Oh man, wouldn't that have been something? Oh, that'd have been something I would have treasured, man. Absolutely. But I'm still gonna find. I'm still gonna find somebody. Got to have a box set or something, man, of the Dream Team's games. But man, yeah, when Jerry Krause is all crazy about Tony Kukoc and he's the future of the Bulls, and he's throwing shade with Mike and Scottie still in their prime, and it's like, Jerry, there you go, running your mouth again. And what did Mike and Scottie do? And then when they interviewed Tony was like, or Scottie, Mike was like, no, we love Tony Kukoc. We didn't know nothing at the time. They love him now, but they knew nothing about Tony Kukoc at the time. But man, when Scottie and Mike took offense to that, man, and Croatia faced the Dream Team just in a regular game before they met him in the gold medal round. Tony Kukoc the whole entire game, he only scored 4 points. 4 point. It was Mike and then when they said in the clip when Mike and Scottie went up to the team and said, nobody's got Tony Kukoc but me and Scottie. I was like, God, and you could just see the look in Tony's Kukoc's eyes, baby. The same look we all would have had, man. Defeated. From the tip off, just defeated, man. 4 points, man. But he did show up in that gold medal game though. And Mike and Scottie gave him praise then. He did show his toughness. And Tony Kukoc looked good, man. He looked good nowadays, but man, I ain't seen Tony in a minute. And Tony still look good, got that hair. He still got that hair, baby. Hey, Kukoc still looking good, man. But yeah, the greatest team ever assembled was the Dream Team, man. The second one in my eyes was the one when Dennis Rodman came on to the Bulls, man. The man that the worm, baby. The man I couldn't stand for the majority of my childhood for years. Came on to the Bulls, and it's like we just, first of all, like everybody was skeptical. Where in the world is gonna happen, but like they said, man, Phil, Michael, and Scottie, they knew how to handle Dennis, man. Especially Phil. I didn't realize Phil and Dennis had a great relationship. They had a fantastic relationship, from what Phil and Dennis was saying, because they both had a very high interest in the Native American culture, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I know, man. Jake, yeah. I knew, but I just didn't know how much, man. This documentary, showed a lot. Showed a lot of that, man. Both Jerrys, man. Jerry Krause was that, and Reinsdorf. Come on, man. Come on, man. Oh man, absolutely. But when Dennis came on to the Bulls, everybody was skeptical. I know there's no way it's gonna work. Man, were we wrong. Came out like gangbusters, man. Who beat the brakes off of everybody? And then like Michael said, he's what did Michael say? He's the most intelligent basketball player that he's ever played with. And then on the other side, I knew Dennis had energy for days, man. Dennis don't stop running. It's amazing. I'm trying to think. I'm like, Dennis had an amazing energy. He had a great mind for the game too. But they said when he had to go on vacation, and Phil gave him 48 hours, so Dennis went to Vegas. Him and Carmen Electra. Oh no, I take that back. It was Madonna, then it was Carmen Electra. But then when he went off with Carmen Electra to Vegas for 48 hours, came back, and that's exactly what he needed to rejuvenate himself, was to go out to Vegas, party all night, come back to the practice facility, and ball out. Like, man, only Dennis Rodman. Only Dennis Rodman. Like Mike said, if anybody who needed a vacation, it was me, not him. But Mike understood that's how Dennis needed to re-energize himself and get himself refocused, was to go out to Vegas, go out to them clubs, him and Carmen Electra, and refocus. Hey, man, so be it. If it works, it works. And Phil, Michael, and Scottie, they weren't tripping because they knew it worked. They knew how Dennis worked, man. Everybody's different, man. And Dennis was that dude. If Dennis needed to go out and let off some steam, they let him. And it worked, man. It worked to perfection, man. Man, going 70, going 72 and 10 and winning the chip, man. Like they said, it don't mean a thing if you ain't got that ring. I remember that saying that year. And they won it all too. Boy, I was like, godly. To me, that's the greatest NBA team. That 98 Bulls team that went 72 and 10 and won the chip, man, because they just like they said, it was like the Beatles, man. Everybody wanted to see those boys. Everybody wanted to see them. And then when they were the dentist part was fantastic. I was like, man, this boy he just had energy packs for days, man. like Michael said, he's probably the most well conditioned athlete in the league because Dennis just wouldn't stop. He just wouldn't stop, man. It's amazing. It's amazing how intelligent he was too, man. Dennis was an intelligent dude, and like you said, the earrings, the piercings, the tattoos, and all that stuff. And Mike and Scottie didn't care about that, man. As long as he came, focused, ready to rock and roll, ready to kick some butt. That's what they did, man. That's what they did. So everybody in Chicago, man, we loved Dennis Rodman, didn't we? that man pretty much embodied everything that the city of Chicago was, man. Dennis Rodman just brought it, man. He brought it, man. And man, Dennis party. I'm still tripping over how much partying Dennis did and still was able to focus, man. That's amazing. That's amazing, man. Oh man, but yeah, Dennis is a legend, man. Without a doubt. Absolute legend. Absolute legend. Then when they were talking about would you want to be Michael Jordan for a day or for a week, man? After seeing this documentary and what the man had to go through, nope. His money, yeah, but not all this, all the BS he had to go through and everything else, and then the demand and schedule, not even on the court, because like Mike said, he let his game do all the talking for him, which gave him all the other things that opened up outside of basketball. Man, he was so smart to do that. Absolutely, work on your craft, and then that opens up the doors to everything else. But yeah, absolutely, man. To try to be that man, for a day, I'll be burnt out probably in 3 hours. And then how about, nah, man, nah. Now you gotta go play. Now you gotta go play the New York Knicks. You huh? What? I'm tired, man. I've been doing PI for 7 hours. Yeah, well, then you better drink a Gatorade, get out there, put your Jordans on, and get it done. Because everybody in that building came to see you and the Bulls, so you gotta find a way to get it done, man. And when they said, and you can just see the pressure and the stress when Mike was in the hotel room and all that stuff. He was smoking a cigar and just relaxing and chilling. He said this is the only time he gets to de-stress and don't have to turn it on and turn it off. And when you turn it on, you got to have it turned on for a long time. I'm just like, damn, man, that's gotta be something else, man. That's a stress level that man, only a few people, not a few people can handle, but there's only a certain type of people that can handle stuff like that are built like that, and you got to physically perform, man. And then hopefully not to get ridiculed if you don't score 35 points that night. But yeah, absolutely not. I would not want to be Michael Jordan at all, not even for 1 second. I take his money. I take it. I would love to have his money, but that schedule, no way, man. No. But and then then they were talking about Michael's gambling issues back in '93 and all that stuff before they won their 3rd straight title. I know I kind of went out there talking about the '98 team, but I had to get that off my chest because I'm gonna probably talk about them again on episode 7 and 8. So I'm definitely gonna continue my discussion with the Bulls as the documentary rolls on this Mother's Day. This Mother's Day when they continue episode 7 and 8. So, excuse me. But yeah, when they were talking about scrutinizing Michael for gambling and all this, that, and the other, the squeaky, like they said, the whole squeaky clean Michael Jordan, this and that, and Michael, what do you say? He never wished he was the one thing. He wished he was a role model or something like that, or Something, don't quote me on that. He said something on those lines. We all ain't perfect, man. Not even the people that proclaim to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect at all, man. That whole squeaky clean image. Come on now. There's no such thing. But I mean, we can all strive to be perfect, but it's hard. It's hard. It's not easy. But like Michael said, like the person who interviewed him asked, do you have a gambling problem? Michael said, no, I have a competitive problem. He said that with a straight face. I laughed, but I was like, Mike does have a competitive problem because it's the same dude that would just bet money because he's just such a competitor, especially in the, when he plays golf, and golf's supposed to be a relaxing thing from him. And Mike throwing down money that that's unheard of at the time. Like the one guy said, $10,000 to us is a lot of money, but $10,000 to Mike is like $10. So it's no big deal. So when he said that, I was like, yeah, he right. But when Mike said no, I don't have a gambling problem. I have a competitive problem. And yeah, he did, man. He did. Michael was like to this, and in my mind, Michael is the greatest sports competitor. In my mind, man. Like what was it? Mike Wilbon said, Muhammad Ali, Babe Ruth, Michael Jordan. Those are the those are the three. That's like, I really can't argue that, man. I mean, you can, but not when it comes to Mike, though. Not when it comes to that man. That man revolutionized the game, man. Took it to new heights. Magic and Larry saved it. Like I said, thank them, man, big time. And then Mike he took it off because Mike's the reason why the game is like it is today, man. These players getting crazy money now is because of Mike. Mike was the first athlete to get the 30 plus $1 million a year contracts and all that stuff. So, but now it's been a great documentary. I love it. I hope y'all been loving it too. I'm definitely gonna be watching Sunday night for episodes 7 and 8. It's been fantastic. I know a lot of people been saying mixed reviews, this, that, and the other, but I'm looking at it as a Chicago Bulls fan, as a Michael Jordan fan, living, being around at that time, watching those games, being at some of those games, and just being around that era of that team, and being in the Chicagoland area, Illinois. It doesn't even matter, man. If you were a Bull fan anywhere around the world, we all felt that same way about Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. So, yeah, it's been fun. This has been a great episode of the Hype Man Podcast. I've been loving talking to you guys about it. Hey, Jake, I greatly appreciate, and everybody who has joined with me discussing The Last Dance, the Chicago Bulls documentary. Thank you so much for the love and the support for the Hype Man Podcast. Next Friday, I will continue episodes 7 and 8 of The Last Dance, the Chicago Bulls documentary. And then you can also listen to any of my previous Hype Man Podcast episodes. Just type in the Hype Man Podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Apple Podcasts, and then you'll see a list of 33 episodes of Hype Man Podcast. Only my live episodes are this long. My other ones are just your standard 7 to 15 minute long episodes, but they're great. The feedback's been fantastic. This is fun for me. I love talking to you guys. Love discussing with you guys. It's just fun. It's just fun for me to do. And Jake, I'm glad you're on, brother. I hope you're doing better, feeling well. You and the family, and then you can also reach me at my Facebook page, the Hype Man Podcast Facebook page as well. You can message me with any questions or any suggestions that you may have that you want me to discuss or talk about going forward. So I just want to say thank you, everybody. Thank you for the love and support. Have a great day. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. And I will see you guys back Sunday with my wife and I. We're going to be doing another 2-player game. So, all right, guys, have a great night. Stay safe. Love you. Thank you. Bye-bye.